Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look here at CVX, see what's going on, and help you understand best practice, big picture. Obviously, try to identify if it's going to come back, return fire, or where we're at, honestly. I get a lot of questions about this one, and in fact, we actually had a swing trade open, or more so a day trade rather, that was opened here recently. We had to close it because Bitcoin had been selling off, but it looks like it came right back and is looking pretty good here in the overall sense of things. We'll take a closer look at that, of course, here together, but at this point, just know I'm not a financial advisor. I love teaching people how to trade, and I hope you can learn something here today. My goal and my passion is to teach you to become a better trader. So obviously, if you can learn something, comment below. If not, that's cool too. I look forward to working with you, of course. I have a CryptoCache.tech website, link in the description below. If you want to become a better trader, I have a trading academy, community, and signal group. It's all in one, really cool situation. Check that out in your own time. Take a look here at CVX. One thing that's pretty obvious, and you can kind of see it right here, clear as day, 50-day set moving average just got rejected here. Now that's not terrible. That's pretty common for the very first attempt to go ahead and hit that point and turn right around. But generally speaking, that is essentially a resistance level right at $22. Okay, so we can see $22 is potentially the option there. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pull up my Fibonacci here, but just know I'm going to go reverse. And a lot of times I get the question, hey, why did you do that? It's mostly just to anticipate how much higher this could go versus the other way around, trying to figure out how far down it's going to go, right? Because again, we're going to be checking the anticipation here, and it does feel and look like it's trying to trend upwards. In that sense, we want to have kind of the reverse Fibonacci, if that makes sense. All right. That being said, taking a look here, of course, at the RSI, we bounced off of 50 and the RSI effectively there. So that nice little candle wick down gave enough momentum to kind of come right back up. And you can kind of see here too, based on Fibonacci, that there is somewhat of a resistance level right around $20.50 as it closed approximate. It wicked up 3 days in a row and effectively tentatively broke out today. Now I say tentative because this one-day candlestick isn't closed yet. You always want to wait until the candlestick closes before you kind of make a decision on if it broke a trend line or not, or obviously a support or resistance level. In this case, $20.50 is a point of, well, we want to make sure to close above that. So a close above $20.50 would be great today, just based on the fact that, it would give us that identification that we're probably going to continue higher. I feel like Bitcoin's also not going to come too much lower. Yes, it might come down to 40,000, but if it stays right at 40,000 or higher, or trends around 40,500/41 like it's doing so far, we're going to see CVX continue to take off. Once again, the reason why I identified this as a day trade, in case you were curious and you're part of my community and you saw that, is that simply put, it has a strong trend line down. Okay, so you can see ever since January, of course, terrible timing for an ICO date. I believe its ICO was December 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but generally speaking here, we got an ICO of the 23rd of December, and ever since then it's been tapering off. It did well for a couple of days, but honestly, that was a tough time for Bitcoin, and this trend line down, effectively breaking free of that trend line, is a good indication of the fact that a coin wants to come back, and having 3 solid green days in a row kind of gave me the inclination to want to go ahead and take that trade. Okay, so again, everyone has different criteria. This met that criteria at the time, and it still meets it now at this point, based on the fact that it had this nice, healthy continuation after this correction. Okay, all right, looking at the 4-hour, generally speaking, here's kind of where we're at. The price did come down to bounce almost off of the 50-day SMA, and once again, it touched right around $18 as a round number for the support level. All right, so right at 18, it came down, wicked down, and bounced off pretty hard, came right back up to almost 22. So awesome situation there. We can see that Fibonacci retracement level held very strong, and 50 on the RSI tentatively held as well in that sense too. So a lot of good things we're seeing here. I like the fact that the RSI is under 70 still. It's calming down and relaxing, because had it gone too far above, yes, the price would have continued, but it also would have retraced a lot harder and possibly lost its higher low pattern that we're seeing here, right? Because again, we got higher lows and higher highs. Now it's kind of messy in a sense because of the fact that this most recent low is pretty much parallel with its previous, but generally speaking, for lack of better terms, that is still a higher low if you look at the bigger picture. Okay, so again, it's still holding this nice trend, nice continuation, and I would expect for the price to continue to ascend concurrent with this 50-day SMA. So if we kind of take this here and put this trend line upwards like this, you can see that the 50-day SMA will probably just continue to go up with it. That's usually how it works. And that's when you can tell you're in a good continuation type of pattern. All right, so good stuff there in that sense. We're potentially going to have a breakout eventually here, because if you kind of see, we got this trend line potential breakout where it's tested that level a few times. It may just jump around for a little while, but it will effectively, in most cases, break to the upside based on that. Okay. All right, so the likelihood of CVX continuing higher, I think, is definitely there. So, pretty good shape in that sense. Taking a look at some other factors here on the 1 hour. Ichimoku Cloud tells us we're in good shape here to keep our position open, as well as the fact that TD Sequential is telling us we are overextended. Big surprise there. You can see we hit a 9 right at around $20 and it shot up to about 22 and got rejected. It's pretty common, but good news is it broke this key level resistance here at about $20.50. And it's coming down to effectively consolidate here. So the likelihood of it breaking out from here is quite high. Again, there's no guarantees, of course, pending Bitcoin doesn't do anything stupid. We should be in pretty good shape to see CVX continue to progress upwards. The only reason why CVX progressed down recently is because Bitcoin continued to sell off over the weekend. It hit that high point, 42,300, and it couldn't pass that level and continued to reject. But we saw 2 nines here in a row. That basically tells us that the likelihood of continuing upwards is much higher. Anytime you see two nines on TD Sequential on the 1 hour, that's kind of an indication of a turnaround. In most cases, it rarely will continue any lower. All right, so all good stuff here. Pretty much everything's standard. I feel as if CVX is going to continue. The most immediate bottom will be $20.50. The secondary bottom there, which would be just fine if we hit that, would be kind of a essentially a next level at about $19.50. That would be, in a perfect world, the price would come back down there and bounce and go higher. That's essentially what a perfect world would look like, because again, that would give us the higher low pattern and, of course, maintain those higher highs. Okay, so again, that's ultimately what we're looking for here. CVX looks like it's ready to continue higher, definitely doing good, and it's just kind of a good coin. So yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. I think it's going to be bouncing back and doing quite nice here in the near future. So pay attention to how this works. I hope that it works out very well for you. Obviously, be careful with your stop losses, but make sure that give a little bit of wiggle room there just in case Bitcoin were to correct itself a little lower. If we see 40,000 or 38,000 from Bitcoin, we can expect CVX to probably retrace a little bit. Okay, it'd be pretty safe to presume that it's going to lose its momentum, and that would change things a little bit. But based on how it's performing right now, it feels like it wants to continue to progress higher. It's got this nice continuation pattern, and of course, if you look at the amount of volume, we have a lot more volume today than we did in the most recent past. That's very helpful to have that continuation. Because if you see low volume followed by high volume and the price going upwards, that's also a sign that we're going to see a breakout. Okay. But I like the fact that we had a lot of volume here previously and the price was unwilling to come anything lower than about 15.30. So absolute bottom is 15 for CVX, and I think the top is still yet to be defined. We'll get there when we get there, right? All right, well, thanks again for joining me here. Hope you learned something, of course. If you're not currently a community member, consider joining, of course. I love teaching people how to trade, and I get that opportunity to be able to do that every single day and every single week, and it's a really rewarding experience for me and my members. So CryptoCache.tech, check that out in your own time, link in the description below. I look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.